Welcome back to IGN Live from Gamescom, brought to you by Homefront The Revolution. It's time to talk about Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Patrick here is gameplay director. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So what are we going to see from Deus Ex today?
I don't know exactly what we're going to see in terms of the footage. We're going to see the new setting for the game, which is taking place 2 years after the events of Human Revolution. So the world is a very different place. The AUG incident has affected everybody throughout the world and has just created a big divide in the population between naturals and augments. If you remember from Human Revolutions, all the people, Human Revolution was the golden age. It was the cyber renaissance. It was like everybody's going to get augmentations for sports, culture, everything. It's going to be fantastic. And then the AUG incident is actually people getting hacked and losing control of their augmentations and starting to do all kinds of crazy stuff with, lethal repercussions in many cases, and that happened throughout the world. And then that obviously just marked the imagination of a lot of people, and nothing's been the same ever since. So governments have started passing laws. People are worried. There's a lot of social debate, and actual ghettos are starting to be formed as there's starting to be some segregation, and one of those is Golem City right outside of Prague. It's actually an old complex that was built for immigrant workers that were flooding the city at the time, and then government took it over and decided to make it a safe haven for hogs.
Safe haven.
And and then more and more people got pushed in there. And then right here, actually, we start right in the middle of that mission where we're infiltrating a base where the Augmented Rights Coalition is working out. But in the actual game, you'd get to visit the early portion of that, which is like a social hub. So you get to interact with the people, see what kind of conditions they're living in, and really what's going on there.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is a level that you showed at E3, but we're going to approach it a different way this time, because that's what Deus Ex is famous for, right?
Yeah, Deus Ex is all about
player
freedom.
choice.
Yeah, that's right. Player choice and consequence. That's one of the things we worked really hard on, actually, in putting it in the minute-to-minute gameplay of the game. So you do have these story arcs, these more bigger choices that happen in the game, but you have these minute-to-minute things. If you spend time exploring something, maybe finding items, having conversations with people, getting some information, that opens up some doors later on to do other things. And then ultimately all of these little choices kind of chain up to a series of things that gave you certain means. In the end game situation, you find yourself equipped with certain things that if you tie it all the way back to the beginning, you realize it's based off a choice you made maybe in the first hour of gameplay, and that's what gave you that advantage, and ultimately decides on an alternate ending.
What did that graffiti say? Augmented Rights?
Yeah, the Augmented Rights Coalition. So there's been some terrorist acts in Prague and all over the world, actually, and they're being blamed for it. And they're actually a group that is trying to advocate for augmented rights, because they're losing a lot of their rights and they're as full-fledged citizens, and they're being thrown left and right. So it's actually kind of a pacifist movement. So early on in the game, you're investigating. Jensen is actually part of a task force, an anti-terrorist unit, and they're being sent to deal with some of the repercussions of these terrorist acts, and they're investigating that. But on the flip side, he's also working with a group called the Collective, which is a more underground group trying to unravel the mysteries of the conspiracy and who's actually behind these things and who's manipulating, who's pulling the strings in the background. So they get blamed for it, and on a first level, it kind of feels like, all right, they're the bad guys and they're terrorists and they're trying to do that. And when you actually get to Golem City, you realize there's all kinds of shades of gray. There's a lot of nuance, and you realize, the leader, the guy that you're actually going to apprehend here, is actually helping a lot of these people survive, and he's trying to organize something, and he's very pacifist. So you're getting really both sides of the story, and then it's up to players to figure out where they stand on it. We don't actually make the moral choices and tell you, this is right or this is wrong. It's just we're showing you both sides of a coin, and then it's up to you, because Adam himself being augmented, when you're going in Prague, when you're going around the world, obviously you're not a natural, so you do get that look and you get these comments from people, from passersby and all that. But even as he enters Golem City, he's not really one of them either, because he's all shiny and new. He's got these nice experimental augmentations that nobody else has. He has no dependency on the Ropazin, the drug that's necessary to keep the augmentations working, which is what a lot of people there are lacking. So he's kind of in between, and I think it's like the perfect canvas for the players to make their own choice and to experience the game in a way that is their own.
So it looks like we're trying to be stealthy here, trying to stealth our way through the level.
Right. We're showcasing some of the stealth possibilities here early on in this level, and obviously, like, you could totally flip that around, and it could be complete combat as well if you wanted to. A lot of the augmentations that we develop have a lot of applications to them, so they could be used either for stealth or for combat. Mm-hmm. That was the Tesla right there, which is a non-lethal way of taking out enemies. You can actually target multiple NPCs as well with it, if you have the ammunition, which is going to be limited because it's kind of a experimental weapon, so you can't just go to the store and pick up some more. So it's a little bit harder to get.
So we're camouflaged here?
Yeah, that's the cloak. And it's an augmentation that can be combined with some other augmentations, I think, like the dash that we're going to see a little bit later on, which is another example of what I was saying before in terms of being able to cater both to different styles of gameplay. You could dash into enemies for a combat result, or you can actually cloak your way and combine it with the cloak and actually use it as a fast travel means for stealth.
Yeah, this is usually about how it goes for me. I plan to go in stealthy, but then it all goes wrong, and so I have to shoot my way out of it.
That's the moment I like the best, personally. Yeah. Not the combat, but dealing with the consequence of what's going on, and not like reloading the thing because it went wrong. Yeah. Like, I actually feel with the controls that I have a chance to get through it, and the combat pillar is something that we really worked hard on in order to do that, to make it on an even playing field with the stealth as well, and that you didn't feel like, oh damn, now the combat has started, I might as well reload because I'm not going to have enough bullets, or the controls are not quite what I expect. So we put a lot of work on that just to make it if we're going to offer you a choice, then we have to give you fair options. So that's really what we've worked hard on, and the cover system as well. So now you can go cover to cover forward, and you can combine the use of your augmentations while you're in cover. So that's been really important to us, that fluidity and the means to either deal with the situation or get it back into a neutral state where you can get back into your stealth if you so want. Because I think most players are not like these radical extremes, like all stealth all the time or all combat all the time, and it's like we're giving you a lot of that's right, we're giving you a lot of tools in this game, and then the more you start playing around with them, the more creative you are, the more you start exploring the possibilities, and you feel all the potential behind it.
We left a lot of bodies there.
Yeah, in that particular situation. That's what's interesting, actually. Right after that, we would meet Talos Rucker, and we'd have a verbal debate with him, and he would actually comment on that. So that, when I was talking about choice and consequence before, in the minute to minute, that's actually an example right there, where the debate is going to start in different conditions if you've killed a lot of his men, and if you're paying attention to some of the discussions these NPCs are having, you realize that they're not military. They're there to defend an ideal, and they've armed themselves, obviously, but they're not a real militia. So that might influence your choice of how to deal with them, or it might not. You might feel that whatever you are, you have weapons, and there's been terrorist acts, and I have to act on it. But in dealing with Rucker afterwards, he would actually comment on that. So it influences starting conditions of the debate, and then how the debate ends would actually influence the conditions afterwards. If you lose the debate, then the alarm is triggered, and then you're going to have to escape, dealing with all the incoming enemies. Otherwise, he'll give you a little something special, and everything is quiet. So then it's up to you to keep it that way if you so want, or pull out the gun, and that's how that's one of the ways in which the choice and consequence manifests itself in the game.
Cool. The game is out early next year. There isn't a release date yet, though, is there?
No, early 2016.
Early
is our-
2016.
Yeah.
Patrick, thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you.
by the show.
Thank you very much.
That's Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Stay tuned for more right after this here at IGN Live.